I'm Nina Manchev, owner of Forte Tapas, and I'm going to show you how to make our most popular dish, the Ajarski Khachapuri. This is a traditional dish from Georgia, but it's very widely accepted through other cultures throughout Eastern Europe, and it's made its way to America. A lot of people come to the restaurant and they call it the bread boat, and I'll show you why. For this dish, we have our dough, and we basically want to make a big space to mix all the cheeses and create kind of like the canoe shape. So first we start off by stretching the dough. A lot of flour. The Ajarski Khachapuri is regionally from Ajarski in Georgia. It typically has 3 different types of cheese. We use queso fresco, Bulgarian sheep milk feta, and mozzarella. You can find these almost everywhere, and they tend to be a little bit lower of a cost point than if you were going to get the Eastern European imported alternatives. So we're gonna mix that again, queso fresco, mozzarella, and the feta cheese. And that's gonna be the basis of what goes inside the khachapuri, and it all just melts so beautifully together. And what I like to typically do is start from the outside and work in, just because the biggest part of this is the crust is filled with cheese. So you get like a bite of cheese and egg with every slice. So flavors are insane. We actually did a bunch of different videos on like how to pronounce this. And when people come in here, they're like, how do I eat this dish? How do I pronounce this dish? So it's just basically the bread boat. And you can see I'm just kind of folding in the sides. You can see all the cheese over there. And then we just stretch it again and fold throughout. And for me, the most important part is you want to pinch. We like to pinch the ends so that everything, once it bakes and rises, it stays kind of in this like little canoe shell. You'll see with the final product, but we add some butter. This goes into the oven for about 10-15 minutes just to get a nice crust. So now we took our khachapuri out of the oven after it's been in there for about 12 minutes. And the final stage of this is cracking the egg and popping it in for another 4. So when we take it out, you'll see it has the runny egg in it, and then we'll be ready to mix it together. Okay, now we have the finished khachapuri over here. See, the egg is over easy or runny, whatever you want to call it. And then we typically mix it for you at the table. Then you see kind of how the melty texture of everything. So it's a fun dish, really great for sharing, really satisfying, and it has all of your favorite things in it. Cheese, egg, butter, bread. All right, here it is.
Oh my God, that looks amazing. That looks really.
So, like you said, this is just cheese, egg, and
It's 3 different types of cheese, butter, and egg all baked together.
I'm ready to try this. This looks fantastic.
Okay, wait a minute. I think we're gonna really elevate the experience, and we're gonna do it a traditional way we do it at Forte and add some caviar to it. What do you think?
okay.
Well, you're in luck.
I just happen to have caviar here.
And listen,
Amazing.
this is the Osetra caviar.
Okay.
The textures and the richness of the khachapuri with kind of a little bit of the saltiness and brininess of the caviar is killer, because, you know, a lot of people are used to having the traditional caviar service with the blinis, the egg white, the egg yolk, the creme fraiche. It's basically like we took that, put it in the bread all together, and we're gonna top it with this. So dig in. I mean, if you want to.
Caviar is new to me.
Yeah.
But,
Why don't you show us what we should
Okay.
do? Let's show us.
I'm gonna do one. Sorry, I'm gonna take the end over here. And dip it in here. So we have our eggs, our cheese, our butter, all the creamy, rich textures on top of the bread. And then when we add the caviar to it, it completely blows it out of the water. You got the saltiness, the earthiness, the nuttiness, the brininess from this one product, and all together, kill it.
Go ahead.
Okay,
We're in there.
let's
So,
get some cheese in here. All right,
a little bit of caviar.
a little bit of caviar. Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
I like our food because you can eat it with your hands. Like, it's an interactive experience, and it's a good way. You're literally like breaking bread with your friends and family.
That tastes incredible.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yep. Like a pizza and an omelet. Yeah, it's like a calzone. And I do like the saltiness of it.
And you're right, it does amp up the flavor. It does really add another dimension to that cheese.
Yep.
Add
Because the cheeses altogether, they're not very salty. Like, you get a little bit of salt from the feta, like the pickled cheese. For the most part, it's very mellow. I think it's interesting because you said, like, you relate this to a calzone, which it's not very different to a calzone or a pizza. Every culture has their own representation of a similar dish. That's what connects all of us, and it's almost like a universal language. If you go to the Republic of Georgia and try this dish over there, you already have something to connect it to that's like a personal experience.
Well, I think that's an interesting point too, because Europe is much more connected in general. There's influences from all different parts of it, and so yes, it could be like an Italian calzone, but that's only because the people intermingled much more closely they were.
Yep.
That was really good. Too good. You guys want to try?
Yeah.
Well, good.
Might as well.